Okay, so can you hear me? And can you hear the music? If you can hear the music, please tap 1. Let's activate the microphone. Okay, it is already 7 o'clock, so let's start. Okay, thank you. Hello everyone, nice to meet you. It's my great honor to deliver tonight's class, and I do appreciate you can come today because you didn't have to, and it is 100% easier not to do something than to do something. Okay, so firstly, I want to make a simple self-introduction. Okay, my name is Kelseay, and I'm an ACCA member, also a CICPA member, and also a CMA member. And when I was a college student, my major was English, so I also have a TMH. It is a test for English major students. Okay, and I have 2 masters. One is a professional accountancy of University College London, and another is business administration of Northeastern University. And I was a product manager and secretary of Ping An Insurance. It was my first job. I was graduated from 2014, and later on, I became a lecturer of Sannyasin University, Lanzhou University, Northeastern University, Central Economic University, etc. Actually, I have been teaching for 7 years, and I have taught over 100 universities in China. So, and I really want to say that it's really my honor to see you tonight. Okay, and I hope we can have a wonderful time tonight. Okay, so let's move on. And before today's class, I want to ask you a question. Why you want an ACCA certificate? Or why you think this is important for you? Okay, you can share with me your opinions in the chat box. Okay, you can type what you think. Why you want an ACCA course? And I do think you are interested about ACCA. That's why you come to today's course. Okay, so can you share it with me? Okay, you can type, and I want to share some personal opinions. Actually, I have not lots of, I just have 3 accounting certificates, and the ACCA is my first accounting certificate. I got it when I was a university student. In the grade 3, in my memory, and I do appreciate it because of ACCA. I can say if no ACCA, then no present me, and it gives me a better platform and give me more opportunities, and also help me to find a good job. Okay, and for you, especially the students in Hong Kong, if you get ACCA certificate, then you can get a Hong Kong CPA, and if you are in other countries, I also recommend you to know the ACCA policies, because if you have this certificate, you can have lots of other countries' CPA. Okay, and back to Hong Kong CPA. I think in Hong Kong, if you both have ACCA and Hong Kong CPA, it will be beneficial for your promotion and help you to get multiple skills, and also help you to have a deeper understanding of management. And more importantly, if you have a Hong Kong CPA, it will help you to have a CICPA directly. Yes, if you are working in the finance industry. Okay, does my voice low? Okay, so can you hear me clearly? I don't know, because we just testified the microphone from the music, so I don't know whether you can hear me clearly. So can you hear me? So if you can hear me, please tap 1. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. Okay, and more importantly, if you can get a Hong Kong CPA, then you can get a CICPA directly. If you are working in the finance industry, you will know this certificate is very difficult. It's very difficult. Maybe you have lots of experience, financial experience, and maybe you have made lots of preparation. But when you took this examination, you will still feel, wow, it is difficult. It is very difficult. But if you have a Hong Kong CPA, then you can get CICPA directly. So it is a very convenient way to get it. And in my opinion, there are lots of Hong Kong companies have branches in mainland. So if you can have a good control of Hong Kong accounting standards and also Chinese accounting standards, and I think it will be really beneficial for your promotion. And especially, China is playing a more and more important role in current world. So if you really get good control of Chinese accounting standards and FRS, International Financial Reporting standards, I think in the future you will get more offers from the best multinational companies. Okay, and before the next class, I also want to introduce two famous ACCA members to you. One is Miss Wu Wei, another is Mr. Luo Hanshuo. Ms. Wu Wei is the Vice CEO and CFO of Ali Group, and Mr. Luo is the Vice CEO and CFO of Tencent. Yes, okay, the biggest internet companies in China, both their CFOs ACCA members. So I'm really proud of it. Okay, and for both of them, they got the ACCA certificate when they. Yes, they got the ACCA certificate when they have already worked. And Ms. Wu said that she almost gave it up because of the heavy workload. But interestingly, she found that the knowledge in ACCA course was exactly what she needed to get the job done. So she insisted on it and finished it. And later on, both of them get the ACCA Outstanding Achievement Award. I'm, as an ACCA member, I'm also proud of to have such an outstanding company. Okay. And if you're working in the Big Four, this kind of accounting firms like PwC, Deloitte, EY, and KPMG, you will know that. You must know that, especially working in the audit and assurance department, accounting certificates is a compulsory requirement. And if you want to, if you are not the employee of this kind of companies, and in the future you have this kind of plans to work in this kind of companies, then to have an accounting certificate is a basic requirement. And ACCA is one of the most accounting certificates in this world. And I do think, although I take so many examinations, I think ACCA is worthwhile, and especially the thank you a lot. And especially I think the framework, the knowledge framework is quite useful. And I really hope you can get this certificate. Okay, thank you. Now let's go to the next class. For the next course, it will be divided into 4 parts. The first is the examination structure, and the second is the introduction to the syllabus of P5, and the third is the strategic performance environment, and the fourth is the brand introduction of golden finance. Okay. Oh, thank you a lot. Okay, so firstly, let's see the examination structure. Okay, I have been teaching ACCA for 7 years, and I have thousands of students. Lots of. And sometimes they ask me this kind of question. Teacher, which 2 courses I shall choose for the optional level examination? For P5, it is an optional course, not a compulsory course. It is an optional course. For optional level, we have 4 cases from P4 to P7. And in the past, I will always recommend them to take P4, Advanced Financial Management, and P7, Advanced Audit and Assurance. I will never recommend P5 to them, because in my opinion, it is the most difficult course of ACCA examination. Actually, it is not such a subjective judgment. Because of the passing rate, it is always super low. When I took this examination, the passing rate is 28%. Wow. So when they ask me this kind of suggestion, I will always recommend them to take P4 and P7. For Chinese students, their mathematics are relatively good, and they are really good at calculating. So when they take P4, they can easily pass it. And for P7 actually it is similar with F8. If you can pass F8 successfully, and then I think you can pass P7 too. It is for the difficulty, it doesn't aid too much. But in 2018, ACCA examination makes some revolution. It combines P1 and P3 into the new subject. It is called Strategic Business Leader. And for this course, I have to say, it is not an easy paper. And compared with SBL, then P5 is a simple course. It is not difficult. And I can assure you, because I also teach SBL, okay, it's okay. It doesn't matter. And I can assure you, because I also teach SBL, the contents of P5 is almost similar with SBL. So if you can pass SBL easily or not easily, or just you can pass it, then when you come to P5 examination, you will think, wow, it's such a simple course. So trust me, because you have to pass SBL. It is the compulsory requirement. Then only when you pass it, you will be qualified to take the optional courses. Then you must choose P5. You won't regret about this choice. Okay, and for the examination structure, like all the other professional papers except SBL, for this examination, we also have two parts, Section A and Section B, and the whole mark is 100, and we have 3 hours 15 minutes to finish it. And in the whole examination, you will face 3 cases. 1 long case in Section A and 2 short cases in Section B. For all the ACCA examination, I think if you have already taken several examinations, you will realize the case study, it always requires you to find the problems in the case and offer some resolutions, or to ask you to make some assessment for the performance of the company. Okay, and I want to show you another thing. It is the passing rate. From 2019 to 2021. And you can see that the passing rate compared with before, it is already very high. And in my opinion, it is dramatically high. Yes, because, several years ago, it is always under 13. But at present, at least it can be over 13. Wow, unbelievable. And especially in 2021 March, the passing rate is 13.6. So don't be afraid. Just choose this course. You won't regret. Okay. Yes. Now let's move on to the introduction of the syllabus. Yes, the syllabus. And no matter which course I teach, P5 is very difficult, but majority your student can pass with flying colors. Therefore, and here is moment. Oh, thank you a lot. Okay, and I'm not only teaching P5. I also teach F1, F4, and SBL. No matter which course I teach, I always recommend my students to read the syllabus carefully. Yes, because I tell them the syllabus is crucial. It's really crucial because it will help you to know what will you learn, and you need to assure whether you like it or not. And if you think, wow, I'm really interested about this course, then you need to be determined to learn it. Yes, should be determined to learn it. And you also need to keep the syllabus in mind, because in the future, it will be as the benchmark to assess whether you have a whether you have already take a good control of the knowledge or not. Yes, we can see the name of this subject. It is called Advanced Performance Management. So what shall we do after learning? What shall we learn after learning this course? We need to know how to better plan, control, and evaluate the performance of a company. So how to achieve it? We need to apply relevant knowledge, skills, exercise professional judgment, and also need to apply some strategic management accounting techniques. So all the things we learn is serving for the main purpose to better plan, control, and evaluation. Okay, so let's also we need to see the main capabilities we need to have for this course. Well, the following one, and in my opinion, I think all of you should be familiar with ACCA examinations. Although maybe you have exempted from the previous non-course, the first non-course, but I think you must attend similar classes with ACCA, and I think for the students who can exempt from the first non-course, you must be a student in accounting major. Okay, so the following capabilities I think you may already take good control of, but you need to further know it. Okay, the first capability you need to have is the strategic planning and the control models, such as the BCG models, the SWOT analysis, pastel and PAST models, and also like the Mandel matrix, Porter's fair forces models. I think if you're a business-related major students, you won't be unfamiliar with these models. Okay, and except this, because for P5 students, we will make this kind of assumption that in the future you will be senior directors of the company. So you must have a deep understanding of the external environment, such as we need to have the ability to make the risk assessment. And except the external environment, we also know something about the internal environment. What kind of internal environment? Such as the performance management systems. We need to have a deep understanding of it and also need to know how to assess the performance of it. And except that, we also need to take a good control of the performance measurement techniques. And also one more important thing, it is corporate failure. You know, when we run operating something or run a business, we always want it to be successful. We don't want corporate failure, but we need to predict the failure. It is important because only when we predict the failure, we will think about methods to avoid it. So this is the ability. This is another important ability we need to have. Okay, let's move to the part 3. The part 3 is strategic performance measurement, and it is also the most important part of today's course. For the previous 1 and 2, we will have a clear mind of what is P5 is talking about. At least we should clear that. It is talking about performance management and performance management techniques. Okay, so for P3, we need to further discuss about the strategic performance measurement. Okay, I think if you are working in some accounting firms or consultancy firms, or you are working in some strategic development department of companies, you should always make some strategic performance reports. And when you just start preparing P5, okay, you will pass it, definitely. Don't worry, okay. Okay, so I think if you are working in the about I have mentioned departments, and you shall always do this kind of reports. And when we do this kind of reports, how to analyze it? We need to analyze it from 2 perspectives. One is financial, another is non-financial. Okay, if we want to analyze it from the financial perspective, we must take a good control of the following financial performance indicators. And I think as a qualified ACCA student, because you have already see them several times. The first times you see these financial performance indicators, it is in F3, then F7, then F9, then SBL, and SBR. And it is the sixth times you see them. And it is also a very important examination point in P5 examination. So you must memorize this kind of formulas, and you also need to know how to calculate them correctly. And one more thing, you need to know how to make explanations. Like if this kind of ratios is too high or is too low, what does it represent? And what shall you do? How to solve it? Okay, so because we don't have that much time to discuss about this kind of ratios, so it is a homework. If you are still not that familiar with these ratios, I hope you can memorize them and calculate them correctly. And also you need to know the meaning of these kind of ratios, like the profitability ratios and the liquidity ratios and the efficiency ratios, gain ratios, and also the investor ratios. You must have a good control of them, because if you don't have a clear mind about these ratios, you can't make the performance measurement from the financial perspectives. So this is the first requirement I have asked. Okay, let's move on. Another perspective is the non-financial performance indicators. Because if we want to know the whole picture of the company, we cannot just know the financial performance of this company. We also need to know the value for money performance of this company. We also called it 3 EIs: the effectiveness, the efficiency, and the economic. Yes, because of these non-financial performance indicators, we can have a clear mind of this company. We can also have a clear mind about the customer satisfaction. So we can see these kinds of indicators. You also need to memorize this, because when you're doing when you're doing the past examination paper, you will see these kind of indicators. They will come every year. Yes, they will come every year. So this kind of indicators are the things you also need to memorize. I like this subject very much because very practical. Yes, exactly. Lots of my friends and lots of my classmates said so. I also like this subject very much. And I also like subject of SBL. And if you like SBL, you will like this. You will also like this subject too. Okay. For the following ratios or following indicators, you will also need to memorize. Okay. Well, you know, when we do this performance measurement, we only know these financial indicators and non-financial indicators. They are not enough. They still cannot help us to get the full picture of the company. So we must do deeply analyze it from the following 3 perspectives. It is assets, liability, and profitability. And profit, yes. And I think you are quite familiar with this. But tonight, we will discuss it a little bit further. And I want to make an assessment to testify whether you have a good control of them or not. Okay, let's move on to first thing, assets. So, can you tell me what is asset? Okay, anyone want to tell me? A little difficult for me. A little difficult, but you can still pass it. Don't worry. Okay, so does anyone want to tell me what is asset? As a qualified ACCA student, I think you must have been already familiar with this definition or concept. Okay, anyone wants to tell me the answer? What is asset? What is? Okay, if you know the answer, please type it in the chat box. What is the asset? Or I want to ask you a question. The things holding by the company, or the tangible or intangible, tangible things or intangible things held by the company can be categorized as assets of the company or not. Can it? It is tangible or non-tangible things belong to the company. then it can be categorized as the assets of the company. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Okay, guys, please answer my question. Okay, please answer my question. Can you? Okay, it can be categorized as assets or expenses. The things belong to the company, the tangible things and the intangible things. Then we can categorize it as assets or expenses. Or let me ask these questions in this way. For example, intangible may be like patents. Patents should be the assets of the company. Well, for all the tangible things can be categorized as assets or not. Or let me ask you these questions. A cake shop bought 30 molds for a special order, and for these molds, they are tangible things. Yes, they are tangible things. And they are not appropriate for other orders. So they should be categorized as assets or expenses. They should be categorized as assets. May not. Yes, may not. For these things, the molds I have mentioned, although they are tangible things, although they belong to the company, but they cannot be categorized as assets. They should also be categorized as expenses, because upon the definition, what is asset? It is the things belong to the company and made up from the past ones, and it will also bring future economic benefits. But for these molds, because they are for the special orders and they are not appropriate for other orders, so they can't generate economic benefits. So we cannot categorize it as assets. Actually, this problem is a real problem faced by many entrepreneurs, like Inamori Kozo. When he runs Koyasa, in Chinese, his name is Dao Zhenghefu, and the company's name is Jingci. When he ran this company, he faced these problems because for Koyasa, it has lots of molds, and these molds are just appropriate for some special guests. They can't make sure that the guests will come in the future. So, how to classify these kind of things to be assets or to be expenses? And for the Inamori Kozo, he classified these kind of things into expenses directly. Okay, expense of. Yes, exactly, expense of. Okay, well, if we categorize them as assets, what will happen? For the basic accounting principle, it is prudent. We can't overvalue assets, and also we can't devalue expenses. Well, for these things, obviously we are overvalue assets. And if we overvalue assets, it means we devalue expenses. So we will overvalue profit, and the tax authority will charge higher tax expenses. And as the fundamental, do you remember the fundamental accounting equation? Do you remember that? The fundamental accounting equation. Also, although we have already been advanced level students, but we still need to memorize this kind of basic things. So anyone wants to tell me the basic accounting equation? Basic accounting equation. Okay, you can type the answer in the chat box. And firstly, I want to deliver the answer because time is a limit. Okay, if you want to try, please try it. Okay, and the basic accounting equation is assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. Okay, and we have lots of assets, and obviously we are overvaluing the assets, and we think the assets can be realized to make repayments about debts. But in the future, when the creditors ask us to make the payments, we want to sell the assets, but unfortunately, we found they are useless, they are worthless. So what will happen? Possible bankruptcy. So when you make some performance assessment, except above the financial indicators, one thing in your mind is you need to know whether the company has already categorized assets and expenses rightly. Yes, it is also another important thing. Okay, let's also pay attention for another thing. It is also a very important aspect of assets. It is research and development costs. So anyone can tell me under what circumstances the research and development costs can be capitalized. Under what condition research and development costs can be capitalized. Okay, if you know, please type the answer in the chat box. Okay, how and what conditions? And during this part, I want to ask you, I want to discuss one thing with you. Does the research and development cost important for the company? It is the first question. Okay, is it important for the company? The research and development costs. And another question, another things I want to discuss it with you is if the capitalization proportion is really high, what kind of influence it will result? You know, for the capitalization of research and development costs is very important. Especially for the high technology companies, because for this kind of companies, if they want to keep their competency, they must do lots of research and development, and how to categorize them to be assets or to be expenses. Okay, foreseeable revenue in future. Second, marketable. Oh, exactly. Very good. Good for you. Well done. Good for you. Well done. Yes. Let's continue. So we can know that it is very important, and there are several statistics can support my opinion. You know, let's cite Chinese company as an example. All Chinese listed companies, their R&D costs are 573.2 billion RMB in 2020. It's such a huge amount. So how to categorize them is a big problem. And R&D cost is really, really important, because as for statistics, $1 R&D will bring $2 economic benefit within 7 years, and it will also increase the market value in capital market by $5. So the companies will continually make it. Yes. So let's talk about the if the capitalization proportion is too high, what will happen? Let's set an example of Tech. So are you familiar with this company, Tech? Are you interested about artificial intelligence? It is a very famous company in artificial intelligence industry, and it was certified by Mr. Trump, because he also banned F-line into American market. So it is a very good company, and you know, the capitalization proportion rate for Tech is really higher. It's really higher than many other companies in this artificial intelligence industry. And at present, their capitalization proportion rate is also higher than previous years. Yes. So what kind of influence does it make? What kind of influence does it make? You can think about it. The capitalization rate of Tech is really high. So what kind of influence has already made? What kind of influence? You can think about it. Okay, because such as we can see the non-current assets. For the non-current assets, we need to depreciate it every year, and so it will bring some depreciation expenses. Well, for the patents, because if we capitalize research and development costs, then it should be listed as patents in the financial statements, and the patents need to be amortized. And for Tech, because its capitalization proportion is really high, so the amortization cost is also higher than other companies, and it will be higher and higher gradually. Yes. So if you see the profit margin of this company, you can see that the profit margin of this company is lower than before. Okay, actually, if the company's capitalization rate is higher than other companies, we can say that we can't simply say it is irrational. It is irrational because it is higher. No, maybe the company's researching and development ability is better than other companies. But if this is true, the company should be the leader of this market. Its profit margin and revenue should also be the leader of the market. But at present, we can see that the profit margin is lesser than before. So it is a question we need to think whether the capitalization proportion is higher or not. Yes, this is one thing you need to think. So I want to say that when you make the performance assessment, especially in the assets part, one thing we have mentioned is do I classify it right or wrong? And also, for a high technology company, we also need to pay greater attention on the research and development costs, because for this cost, it will strongly affect the profit margin. Yes, and if we make the accounting treatment right, then the profit margin and the statistics on the financial spouse is a true and fair one. Well, if not, then the statistics is useless. If we want to know more things about this, I recommend you to read the financial reports of Leshi. Okay, it was a very famous company, built by a famous liar, Jia Yueting. Okay, Jia Yueting. If you're interested about Chinese companies, please try this one, Leshi, and pay attention for their accounting treatment of research and development costs. Okay, let's move on. Wow, time flies. Okay, next one is also expenses related to people. So the expenses related to people should be categorized as assets or expenses. This is another question I offered for you. The expenses related to people should be categorized as expenses or assets. Like me, I'm an ordinary teacher of Golden Finance. So my salary should be categorized as expenses in my boss income statement, or should be categorized as assets in the financial statements or the balance sheet. How should they make the accounting treatment for these expenses? How should they? Anyone want to answer me? Anyone? For common employee, yes, I'm a common employee, just an ordinary teacher. So how to deal with my salary? It should be expenses or it should be assets. How to? Like, okay. Stars should be capitalized. Yes. Very good. Yes, very good. For the stars, because their salary is very high. This is one reason. Their salary is very high. And another more important reason is they can bring huge economic benefit for the company. So their value cannot be categorized as expenses. It should be capitalized as assets. Yes, exactly. So in the future, when you want to know whether you are important for a company or not, then you can see how does your boss make the accounting treatment for your salary. If you are important enough, then you are the patent. You are the assets of the company. Yes, and also like the pilots of the airline company, like China Southern Airline, China Eastern Airline, the pilots of their company, their salaries are listed as patents in their financial statements rather than in the income statements as expenses. Common employee should be expensed in PL. Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay. So this is the three things I need to mention, and especially when you do this strategic performance assessment. And one more thing is assets are just a partial result. How long have you been studying APM? And for me, when I pass this examination, it takes me 15 days. 15 days. Because at that time I was very busy, so I only have 15 days to prepare it. Because it is like a bit of, it is like a show off, but you know, at that time, I made lots of preparation for the P1, P2, P3 examination. So when I took this examination, it is not that difficult for me. Okay. So another thing I want to mention is ACCA's are just a partial result list. So when you make the strategic performance assessment, you need to know that all the things you have seen in the company, not everything are concluded in the financial statements. So you must also need to know these things not in these financial statements, just like the brand, like the goodwill of the company. Because, you know, like such as the Coca-Cola, you know, the founder of Coca-Cola once said this sentence, one side, even everything of Coca-Cola has been ruined. We only left this Coca-Cola brand. I will rebuild everything within 1 year. But for the brand of Coca-Cola, does it include in the financial statements of the company? Definitely not. Yes, definitely not. So when we make some investment or when we make some assessment, we also need to pay attention. These things, they can't be quantified, but they are very important. Beauty and wisdom of boss. Thank you a lot. Okay. For the above things, and another one I also want to mention is the assets arrangement. The assets arrangement will be beneficial for us to analyze the strategy of a company. There are two modes. One is heavy asset mode and another is light asset mode. And how to define them? The heavy asset mode is the inventory and the non-current assets proportion are high of all the assets. And if the proportion is low, then it's a light asset mode. And for most of companies, like most of companies in financing industry and in the real estate and also in some aero industry, they take the heavy asset mode. But there is some exception. The exception is Coca-Cola. Okay, the Coca-Cola. You know, Coca-Cola is famous for producing cola. Yes, famous for producing that. It is a manufacturing company. So, does this company is a heavy asset mode company or light asset mode company? Maybe before this class you may think, oh, it should be a heavy asset mode company because it is a manufacturing company. But actually, it is a light asset mode company. The proportion of inventory and non-current assets is superficially low. Is super low. It is 13.2%. It is very low. So why does it happen? Because Coca-Cola is a listed company, and you know, because people keep daring and want to live in a healthy way, so they reduce the drink of Coca-Cola, these kind of things. So the profit margin of the company is decreasing. So they, as a listed company, they must keep the profit margin high. Otherwise it will bring some disaster. So they make assets arrangement to transfer from the heavy assets mode to the light assets mode, and it is quite useful because after they have devised the bottle business, their profit margin really increase, and also their ROCE also increase, and because they make lots of settlements, so they can They can concentrate on their main business, and their operating cash flow is higher than before. And also, they can spend more money on brand build. So their brand value is also higher than before. So this is the advantages of the mode change But you know, if you really choose the light asset mode, it also has several disadvantages, like the bright diary. If you are in the similar age with me, I'm 29 years old, and I think you must know. You're very pretty. Okay, thank you. And I think you must know the scandals in China dairy industry. Yes, you must know that. And it was Sannyasin, 3 years. And we found that there are some melamine in their milks. And for the bright dairy, because of keep high profit margin, it also choose to change from the heavy asset mode to the light asset mode. And because of age, it cannot take a good quality control, and also insensitive to the external market change and inflexibility. And the serious thing is that is the poor quality control. There, after the testifying of the authorities, they found that the products of bright dairy, it also have some melamine. Okay, in Chinese is 三聚氰胺. Okay, 三聚氰胺. So it has great negative influence for this company. So when we want to assess the performance of some company, we also need to view the assets arrangement. Because when we view the assets arrangements, we can tell whether they already applied this strategy or not. Because when we make the assessment, firstly we need to rate the reports of board of directors. They may have lots of ideas, lots of proposals, and we need to make sure whether they have put it into practice. Well, one method is to viewing the assets arrangement, especially the heavy asset mode and the light asset mode. Okay, let's move on. Well, let me see the time. Wow, it is 14:07. Okay, it seems that tonight we can only finish the asset part. The profit part and the liability part, we can't finish it. Okay, and when we see the assets of the company and we want to assess it, we must use the liquidity ratios to assess risks. We can not only see these assets, we must need to tell the potential risks of the company, and especially the receivable aging analysis. It is super important. From these statistics, you can see that if the delay period longer, especially it is over 1 year, over 2 years, then the possibility of the repayment, it is only 13.5%. It is very low. Okay. Because of time is limited, so tonight I don't have time to discuss liabilities and also profitabilities with you. So we can summarize the assets part. Yes, to summarize the assets part. For tonight, we discuss several things. The first thing is how to categorize assets. It should be categorized as assets or expenses. It is very important, because if we categorize it wrong, then the statistics we use is not that appropriate. And another thing is, if we are making assessment of a high technology company, we need to pay great attention on the research and development costs. Okay, especially for the capitalization proportion. And another part is the expenses related to people. Whether it should be categorized as assets or it should be categorized as expenses. It is also an important part. And we also need to keep that in mind. Not everything of the company can be quantified as assets, but the the company may have some valuable things, and it is very important for the company. And this kind of things we also need to keep in mind to do the strategic performance assessment. Okay, another things to help you to make a strategic performance assessment is the assets arrangement. You can use it to tell whether the board of directors has already put their strategy into practice. Okay. Yes, so let's move to the last part. The last part, yes, I have prepared lots of interesting cases. Lots of interesting cases like Moutai, like Suning Eagle, like Mobec, like JD. Okay, for these companies are very famous companies in China, and also ABB. But unfortunately tonight we don't have the time. So I really hope next time we will have the opportunity to meet with each other, and we can discuss all the cases detailedly. Okay, so let's move to the last part. Last part is the brand introduction. I want to introduce Golden Education to you. Golden Education was established in 2006 and is committed to creating a lifelong financial education ecosystem. We provide enterprises and individuals with professional, systematic, and convenient financial knowledge products and services. So if you want to have this kind of services, please choose us. Yes, please choose us. Moreover, when is the next time, please? Okay, the next time I think our project manager will tell you the time. Okay, so you can just we can just see the message of our official account. Yes, and moreover we have let me continue to make the introduction of Golden Finance. Moreover, we have already helped thousands of enterprises to improve their financial operations. And we also provide opportunities for millions of students to pursue their further studies, career promotion, network expansion. Yes, so if you really want to have this kind of a service, I do hope you can choose us. And at present, Golden Education operates 6 business areas, including education service organizations, internet learning platforms, innovative technology education platforms, and also employment training platforms, etc. And at present, we have 8,000 full-time employees. And for Golden Finance, it is the China's top financial providers. Okay, and so for the above things is I want to share with you tonight, and because of time is limited, so I don't have that much time to discuss many interesting cases with you. So I really hope next time we can have a next meeting. And for tonight's course, I also bring lots of benefits to you, like the ACCA P5 Advanced Performance Management Knowledge Points, and also some consultation about P5 examination. And also lots of free study materials like the past examination papers, like the test notes, and also some webinars and the latest news. So for all of these materials, you can contact this account to get them. Okay. Do you have any advice about starting APM? I have already filled once. Oh, okay. For my advice, the most important results is the past examination paper. When I passed this examination, I have been trying the past examination paper for 3 times. So if you have passed the last time, I don't know your score. If your score is nearly to the passing score, and I recommend you to try the past examination papers again, and you must make some summarize. Like you need to list some frameworks for some kind of questions, and this kind of framework will be beneficial for passing this examination. conclude, to make a conclusion. Past examination paper is the most important thing. And another thing is to make summarize. Summarize will help you to memorize these knowledge points. Okay, and I have a question about how to exempt from the PARSH. Okay, for these questions, I think you can contact with our consultant. She will give you some materials for the examination, for the exemption policies. I think if you are accounting major students and you have already graduated, you are accounting students in Hong Kong or in Great Britain, at least you can exempt it from 5 courses, at least. So you can contact this account for more materials, and they will tell you. Okay, and do we have another webinar next month? I guess we will have. Next webinar will be on August. For more information about our high-quality ACCA webinar, you can follow our Facebook. Yes, you can follow our Facebook. Welcome to follow our Facebook, and you can also contact us from this WhatsApp account. Sure, I will join the next webinar. Thank you a lot. So, anyone have other questions? Any other questions? Don't mean to ask. Any question is welcomed. Any question? No? No? Okay. I do hope for the students who will take for the friends who will take the P5 examination. I do think next time you will definitely pass it. Don't worry. And I think you must be confident. This is the most important thing. Be confident and try more past the examination paper. Past the examination paper is very important results to fully take advantage of it. And also make summarize. This is my advice. Okay, and I just upon using the above advices to pass all the ACCA examinations. Where can we get materials? Yes, it was up. Okay. Thank you a lot. Okay, so today's class is over. I do appreciate everyone can come for this meeting, for this class. Yes, and I do hope you can learn something from this course, and I do think we have a wonderful time, and hope to meet you next time. Okay, so have a good day. Bye bye.